Hey everyone, I'm Alex. I'm the creator behind Shadow Code. I'm really happy to have you here. Support the channel if you enjoy the content to keep doing what I love for you guys. Thanks for being here.
Picture this. You are sitting at a crowded dinner table, surrounded by the clinking of glasses and the hollow echo of forced laughter. On the surface, you are smiling, nodding, and playing the game perfectly. But internally, you are suffocating, calculating the exact second you can politely excuse yourself and escape back to the absolute sanctuary of your empty room. Society tells you that wanting to be alone means you are broken. They are lying to you. Your exhaustion in crowds isn't a disease. It is an elite psychological defense mechanism. By the end of this, you will realize why your isolation is actually your most dangerous weapon. Welcome to Shadow Code. Before we decode this reality, hit the subscribe button to support the channel and ensure you never miss the unvarnished truth. Let us unpack the script they wrote for you and replace it with the real source code.
Once you stop leaking your precious energy into the void of the crowd, your vision clears, exposing the exact mechanism that makes socializing so unbearable for you in the first place. We have to talk about the grand, universally agreed-upon game of polite society. Every time you step into a social gathering, you are walking onto a stage where everyone is performing a heavily edited, completely fictionalized version of their lives. They exaggerate their accomplishments to mask their deep-seated feelings of inadequacy. They wear tight, forced smiles to hide their insecurities, acting out a script of polite society because they are absolutely terrified of being truly seen. Most people tolerate this fake theater because they are doing the exact same thing. But you cannot play along because you were born with an elite automatic system of pattern recognition. You do not just listen to the hollow words falling from their mouths. You immediately detect the massive, glaring gap between what they claim to be and how they actually behave. You spot the subtle, dangerous inconsistencies in their stories before they even finish their sentences. You see right through their performative kindness, the strategic type of charity that magically disappears the second they no longer have an audience to applaud them. While the rest of the world blindly excuses these red flags to keep the peace, your mind logs them as critical threats to your peace. And here is the brutal, irreversible truth about your brain. Once you see the pattern, you can never unsee it.
Once you decode the subtle manipulation hiding beneath a polite compliment, the entire illusion of that person shatters instantly. This is precisely why small talk feels like actual physical torture to you. It is not that you lack social skills, and it is certainly not that you are too shy to speak. It is because you have an absolute, non-negotiable requirement for raw authenticity. Your mind violently rejects inauthenticity the exact same way a healthy immune system attacks a toxic organ transplant. You simply cannot stomach sitting there for hours nodding along to a fabricated persona when you already know the dark reality of who they are hiding underneath. You want to skip the agonizingly shallow waters of weather updates and weekend plans and dive straight into the terrifying, uncharted depths of real human emotion. You demand the unedited, uncomfortable truth, but the masses will never give that to you, because dropping the mask means facing their own emptiness. So you make the only logical move available to someone who sees the matrix for what it is. You silently disengage. You refuse to invest your time, your loyalty, or your mind into an actor who refuses to break character. You are not being difficult or cynical. You are simply refusing to read from a script that you already know is entirely fake.
Because you absolutely refuse to invest your loyalty into fake actors, you are forced to radically redefine how you build your inner circle. Most people collect friends the way desperate children collect cheap trading cards. To the masses, socializing is nothing more than a pathetic numbers game, a frantic accumulation of warm bodies to prove to society that they actually matter. They want 20 people cheering at their birthday dinner, blindly equating the sheer quantity of people around them with their own self-worth. But your mind operates on a ruthless, highly advanced metric: return on investment. You possess a quality threshold that the vast majority of the population simply cannot survive. Casual, shallow friendships do not interest you in the slightest, because they feel like unpaid, exhausting labor. You figured out a long time ago that trying to maintain 20 surface-level connections requires a massive output of your resources, with absolutely zero emotional return. You realized the harsh truth that out of those 20 supposed friends, maybe 2 actually know the real you. The other 18 are just interacting with a performed version of you, a polite mask you are forced to wear just to keep their fragile egos comfortable. So you make a cold, highly calculated choice that completely terrifies average people. You stop mindlessly collecting people, and you start ruthlessly curating them. You are building a highly guarded museum, not running a cheap public warehouse. Having a microscopic social circle is not a failure of your social skills, and it is certainly not a sign that you are unlikable or broken. It is a highly sophisticated psychological filter working exactly as it was designed to. You understand the dark economics of human connection. True, unshakable loyalty is incredibly expensive.
It requires your precious time, your acute observation, and a massive bandwidth of your emotional intelligence. You know, biologically and psychologically, that you simply cannot maintain that level of intense investment for 20 people at once. You cannot deeply know 20 people, nor can you consistently show up for them when their world falls apart. Instead of spreading yourself paper thin, you choose to cut the dead weight and invest 100% of your bandwidth into a handful of individuals who have actually earned your trust. To the untrained, judgmental eye of society, it looks like you are isolated and alone. They pity you because they do not understand you. But to the chosen few who actually made it past your threshold, you are the most fiercely present, observant, and loyal ally they will ever have in their entire lives. You are the one who remembers the quiet, unspoken fears they casually mentioned 3 months ago. You are the one who does not just hear the words they speak, but instantly decodes the silent panic hiding underneath them. Your friendships are incredibly rare precisely because they are so expensive, and you flat out refuse to offer discounts on your loyalty.
Because you possess the absolute power to walk away and return to your own peace at any moment, society fundamentally misunderstands the hidden superpowers born from your solitude. They look at your small inner circle and instantly mistake your strategic isolation for coldness, arrogance, or a tragic lack of compassion. But the grand, beautiful irony of being a loner is that by stepping away from the chaotic noise of the crowd, you actually understand human nature far better than those who are desperately drowning in it. You are not avoiding connection out of fear. You are quietly observing the matrix from the outside. You are the silent watcher at the edge of the woods, actively learning the unspoken rules of power and human behavior that everyone else is far too distracted to see. This silent, relentless observation has forged an unshakable set of boundaries within your mind. Because you fiercely respect your own time and meticulously protect your own energy, you naturally respect the resources of others, never imposing yourself or crossing into their space uninvited. You know exactly where your identity ends and the manipulative demands of the world begin. But the most dangerous weapon you have developed in the absolute quiet of your own space is a terrifying level of emotional intelligence. Society falsely assumes that because you keep your distance, you must be emotionally numb or completely detached. the exact opposite is the truth. You possess an intense, almost overwhelming capacity for empathy, combined with an intuition that operates like an internal radar system. When you walk into a room, you do not just blindly watch the superficial interactions play out. Your intuition acts as a razor-sharp compass. You instantly decode the hidden motives, the unhealed trauma, and the toxic agendas hiding behind polite, practiced smiles. You feel everything on a remarkably deep level. But unlike the weak, you do not allow this immense empathy to consume you or turn you into a victim of someone else's emotional chaos. You use your intuition as pure, unfiltered data. You let your gut instinct aggressively guide you away from parasitic environments and steer you toward the rare, genuine truths of this world. You do not get scared easily when making tough decisions, because your internal compass has navigated you through the dark before, and it has never once failed you. And finally, we must acknowledge the sheer, unapologetic courage it takes to live exactly as you do. It takes an immense, terrifying amount of bravery to consciously walk a different path in a society that is violently obsessed with extroversion, groupthink, and forced conformity. The masses will constantly try to shame you back into the herd, throwing negative labels at you in a desperate attempt to break your quiet confidence. But there is a specific, untouchable power to your personality that only the truly awakened can recognize. You have the devastating courage to stand completely alone against the tide, face the judgment of the world, and still fiercely love every single piece of who you are. You have successfully proven that true dominance does not come from controlling the crowd, but from never needing their validation in the first place.
Because you refuse to compromise your loyalty for those who haven't earned it, you naturally retreat to the one place the rest of society fears most: absolute solitude. I want you to look closely at the masses who cling to large crowds. They are terrified of an empty room and their own thoughts. For them, solitude is a suffocating void. It is a dark space they must frantically fill with loud gatherings and meaningless plans. They use other people as psychological mirrors, needing an audience to reflect their worth. If no one is watching, they do not even know if they exist. But you have evolved far beyond this fragile dependency. You operate on what I call the independence baseline. You have been completely self-sufficient for as long as you can remember. While others broadcast their manufactured drama, you quietly solve your problems in silence. You do not rely on the herd to entertain you or to validate your life choices. Your internal world is profoundly rich and structurally sound enough to sustain you indefinitely. You possess a ruthless internal compass. You already know what your energy is worth, and you do not need a crowd to confirm your value. This fundamental difference completely rewrites the laws of human connection. The dark reality of this matrix is that most people build friendships out of pure desperation. They aggressively collect.
You are never looking for someone to save you from yourself. For you, solitude is not a tragic last resort. It is your natural, perfectly regulated, and deeply comfortable default state. This supreme level of self-sufficiency gives you the ultimate leverage. It makes you completely untouchable to those who seek to manipulate you. When you are perfectly content sitting in silence, human connection transitions from a survival need to a highly exclusive luxury. Anyone attempting to enter your inner circle must clear an impossibly high standard. They literally have to be better, more stimulating, and more peaceful than your solitude. If they bring unnecessary chaos or shallow energy, they are an immediate downgrade from your baseline. Therefore, they are swiftly and silently removed. You never keep people around out of a pathetic fear of being alone. You only choose individuals who actively enhance your reality. When you do not need anyone to survive, no one can ever control you. You hold absolute power simply because you are always perfectly willing to walk away and return to the unshakable peace of your own company.
Because you possess the absolute power to retreat into your own peace, society completely misunderstands the incredible psychological weapons forged in the quiet of your solitude. The masses look at your heavily guarded boundaries and instantly mistake your strategic distance for cold arrogance. They assume that because you do not crave their constant company, you must be devoid of compassion. But the grand, unspoken irony of the loner is that by stepping away from the chaotic noise of the crowd, you actually understand humanity far better than those who are drowning in it. You are the silent observer standing at the edge of the matrix. While everyone else is desperately performing for validation, you are quietly decoding the invisible rules of power. This relentless observation has constructed an unshakable fortress within your mind. Because you fiercely respect your own time and meticulously protect your energy, you naturally respect the resources of others. You know exactly where your identity ends and where the manipulative demands of the world begin. But your most dangerous asset, the one that truly terrifies those who try to use you, is your razor-sharp emotional intelligence. Society falsely assumes that your physical distance means you are emotionally numb. But the reality is the exact opposite. You possess an intense, almost overwhelming capacity for empathy, paired with an intuition that operates like a flawless eternal radar system. When you observe a group, you instantly decode their hidden motives and the toxic agendas hiding behind their practiced smiles.
Unlike the weak, you do not let this immense empathy consume you or turn you into a collateral victim of their emotional chaos. You use your intuition as pure, unfiltered data. You allow your gut instinct to aggressively steer you away from parasitic environments and toward the rare, unedited truths of this world. It takes a terrifying amount of quiet, courage, to live exactly as you do. It takes immense bravery to consciously walk a different path in a society that is violently obsessed with extroversion and forced conformity. You have proven that true dominance does not come from controlling the herd, but from having the unshakable courage to stand entirely alone.
Let us take a step back and look at the complete picture we have just dismantled. The brutal truth is that this world is entirely designed to exhaust you. Society is programmed according to a loud, chaotic script where people must constantly cling to one another just to hide their own internal emptiness. But you have actively chosen to unplug from that matrix. Your desire to be alone is not a psychological disorder that needs to be cured, nor is it a social deficit you need to apologize for. It is an elite, high-level defense mechanism. It is the ultimate filter designed to reject inauthenticity, protect your invaluable energy, and maintain your absolute independence. You are not isolating yourself from the world in fear. You are simply refusing to participate in a theatrical play when you already know all the fake lines. The most profound lesson you must override into your subconscious right now is this. Absolute power always belongs to the person who does not need anyone else to survive. The moment you stop seeking validation from the crowd, you become completely untouchable. Never lower your rigorous standards just to afford a few shallow, meaningless connections. Your quiet solitude is a priceless asset, and anyone who wishes to step into that space must actively prove they are worthy of the interruption. So, how do you apply this dark reality to your life starting tomorrow morning? First, you must begin practicing strategic silence. When you are faced with meaningless small talk, forced gatherings, or subtle manipulation at work, do not react emotionally. Just observe them as data. Second, you must ruthlessly stop saying yes to social invitations that your nervous system is screaming at you to reject. Guard your personal sanctuary without a single ounce of guilt, because absolutely no one else is going to protect your energy for you. Turn your solitude into an impenetrable fortress, a place where you quietly sharpen your mind and build your own empire out of sight. Before we close the vault today, I have a simple question for you. Thinking back on the friendships or relationships you have intentionally walked away from, what was the biggest red flag that made you instantly realize they were not worth your energy? Please drop your perspective in the comments below, so our community of decoders can read your experience and learn from your strategy. If this message resonated with you and you want to support the channel, hit that subscribe button. It gives us the motivation to keep exposing the truth and guarantees you will never miss the next code. Unlock the vault. Decode your life.